I do want to thank you for coming out on this wet Saturday afternoon. As Jack mentioned, it was a few weeks ago, we were in Langley City, and we had Mary Pollack there representing the province. So if there's any questions we can't answer, then we'll just say it's the province. But it's important that we do have everybody here so we can answer your questions. And so, again, thank you for coming out. I'm expecting I'm going to get some questions on China, Nexon, Enbridge pipeline, the Kitsilano Coast Guard station. So I'll answer those questions when I get them. I fully expect them. And if we don't, then I will answer them within those questions. But I want to share with you a little bit what has been happening for me in Ottawa. And before I do that, I just want to say how proud I am of Aldergrove. My wife and I, our first home was in Aldergrove. We met at Trinity Western and bought our first home here. And Aldergrove's always had a very soft spot in our hearts. And when you had the $1 Million Neighborhood contest, I was so proud of you when you got that. And what you did, and how the community has grown, and that pride of Aldergrove has grown. So it was about a year ago, we had a citizenship ceremony at the secondary school right behind us here. And so way to go. You're a growing community, but you're a community of family, of people enjoy retiring here, raising their family here. And so it's great that we can be here in Aldergrove today for this town hall meeting. When I was first elected in 2004, I had a real strong interest in the environment and the justice issues. And never thought, and I've always had a desire for human rights, but I never thought that was the flag that I was going to be carrying when I went to Ottawa. What happens is people walk through your door at your office and meet with the staff. And we had a lady from the Okanagan come in, and she said her sister was dying from a brain tumor, and she wanted to take care of her sister, who had been taking care of mom. So she came down from the Okanagan to take care of both, her dying sister and mom. And she applied for the Compassionate Care Program. She found that she didn't qualify for that. Siblings didn't qualify to be able to take care of a loved one at the end of their life. A parent did, a partner, a spouse, but not siblings. And genetically, they're almost, they have the same parents often. So it was kind of a shock. And so we as an office said, do we want to fight for this? And yes, because there's only so many things, so many fights you can take on. So we took this on. And after, it took about 3 years, but we were able to rewrite the policy and change the Compassionate Care Program. And so, again, Langley did a great job within the House of Commons. It was about 2 years ago, I had a man by the name of Peter Ash come into our office, and he has albinism. And he shared a story that in Tanzania, they are killing or dismembering albinos for their body parts to be given or sold to witch doctors to make potions. And it's a shocking that that would be happening, but it is. And so he shared that with us and asked us to ask Parliament to move a motion to condemn this practice and write a letter, have the Prime Minister write a letter to the President of Tanzania. That did pass unanimously. And so again, we found our office being a human rights activist. It was in June of this year that CBC ran a program that showed that ultrasound clinics were indicating the sex of a child, so if it was a girl, the pregnancy could be ended. And because they wanted boys, not girls. It started a serious look at this problem, and we found that globally there are 200 million missing women and girls because of this violent practice of we want a boy, we don't want a girl. And it's a blatant form of discrimination against girls. Girls are just as important, just as valuable as boys. So we've introduced a motion that the Parliament of Canada condemn this practice and to say clearly that girls are just as valuable as boys. What we found also with these 200 million missing girls there are 200 million men that will never have a relationship with a counterpart. And this is a major fueler for human trafficking and prostitution. So the world has a problem, and hopefully Canada can take a strong leadership role in that motion, asking Parliament to condemn that serious practice. In the environment, we have, I'm just going to touch on the omnibus bill. Some of you may have heard that we introduced a lot of items into a budget bill, and that may not necessarily be financial. And I'm the chair of the Environment Standing Committee on Environment. The environment, the changes that we had in C-38 on the environment were related to CEA, the Canadian Environmental Assessment Act. We found in studying over 2 years on CEA that there was the province, and it could be any of the provinces, would introduce and have an environmental assessment on a project. Then the feds would have the same thing. In interviewing the witnesses and First Nation, they were very frustrated. First Nation was frustrated that we would be calling them back and asking them the same questions that had been asked repeatedly. And their response was, are you really listening? Is this process of consultation genuine? Why didn't you listen the first time? The recommendation that we heard over and over again was that for every project, one project, you would have one environmental assessment at the highest standard, but to have repeated environmental assessments did not do any good. Factors that created frustration and then a lack of participation, willing participation, because they had already given their testimony. So we made that recommendation that one project, one environmental assessment at the highest standard. That was then implemented into the budget bill, C-38. Rather than sending it back to the committee, should we study it again? So there's a reason why things have happened in Ottawa, and I look forward to your questions. But again, thank you so much for coming, and thank you.